Delighted to welcome back on the show. Always a pleasure. Big week again for a number of his fighters this Saturday night at UFC 225. He has Sergio Pettis in action and also Phil Brooks returning to the octagon for the first time in 2 years. My good pal, great to have him back on the show, Mr. Duke Roufus, head coach of Roufus Sport. Duke, how are you, my friend? Great to have you back on the show.
Oh, it's great to be on the show with you. Hello to all the fans over there. I'm wonderful. Coming off a big win last weekend for Bo Muhammad in Utah, New York. It was a great fight for him. He did some great things technically. Really worked hard to get the finish. But a very dominant points victory, and he's unscathed, so ready to fight soon again. Excited. This week is interesting because it's two ends of the spectrum that I care about. Two people I care about very much. Obviously, Sergio, someone I've seen grow up right before my eyes, and my good friend CM Punk. In two completely different paths coming into the octagon. One, way later in life, and one guy was, he was raised to do this. So they're both special to me, and two completely different stories, and it's going to be interesting.
Definitely. You mentioned Belal there. I was very impressed with his performance. It was a dominant points victory, as you said. I just want to touch on that. He seems to improve every time he's got in there. It was dominant in all aspects. Was that the best performance we've seen from Belal Muhammad in terms of his all-round game and his all-round skills as a mixed martial artist?
Yes, I thought it was his best performance of his career. Hats off to his opponent for taking the fight short notice. It was a challenge for us as well because he prepared for Nico. He was right-handed, had to face very tall southpaw. It was a great performance. What I really liked was his striking, his variety, and his defense was impeccable. It's something he had struggled with years back coming into the UFC, and that's something that he's really improved on. Another thing is he trained and fought during Ramadan. He's a devout Muslim. Hats off and respect to him. It was his intestinal fortitude and inner strength as a person is incredible, and great performance from him. Hoping to get him right back in there.
That's interesting too. You mentioned that, and we've had Belal on the show here before, and he was actually, I think he was in camp. It was during Ramadan as well. You've obviously had him in fight camps when he hasn't had Ramadan. What do you have to make certain adjustments as a coach during that period as well to maybe look out for your fighter a little bit more, because obviously he's fasting and he's not allowed to take on water and he's to watch what he eats as well. What's the difference for you as a coach in a situation like that?
You're monitoring everything, especially. We do some of our heavier training in the evening and pad work and bag, and I have to be mindful of not pushing too hard because of his situation. The other thing too, is very, very unique. I joke with him. There were some days he wasn't even perspiring while the rest of the guys were, sweating loads out of them. Water. He was dry. That's how brutal the fasting is on him. But he takes it in stride and he performs well. I'm excited to get him a fight. Not in Ramadan. I feel that he'll be stronger. But it had to him again for his personal conviction not to break from his religion and as well, not take a break from his career at the same time. It's a special person.
Definitely, yeah. Incredible performance from Belal last Saturday night in Utica. Dude, we haven't spoke. Obviously, we spoke in Brooklyn when I was there. We did an interview and we talked about the whole situation there. I just want to ask you that now about UFC 223 and the frustrations you obviously had, having your two fighters being pulled off the card. What's it been like for Paul and Anthony? Obviously, Paul's a big fight coming up in a few weeks' time. Has it been challenging for you as a coach to maybe get them back on track after that whole scenario and the farce that Conor McGregor caused over there?
Ironically, I'm always lemons and the lemonade type guy, and make the positive out of everything.
Definitely.
I saw a special fighter with under both of them, They went there, did all this stuff, and they didn't even get the opportunity to jump in the octagon. So there's some frustration. They turn the frustration into motivation. They're both very motivated for their fights. They've actually become quite close from the whole scenario. I mean, they've become good friends along the way, very tight. They've actually been doing a lot of sparring together, and they're motivating one another. I mean, they're really helping each other grow as fighters right now. That's positive. I just hope Connor can get himself on track, because that was a wild situation. I hope he learns from it, and he can get back into the octagon and get this lightweight division cooking. It's you can't deny it, the man's popularity and buzz that he brings, and I just want to get this whole edition going again after the boxing sideshow.
Yeah, definitely. It was a farce over there in Brooklyn. Obviously, there was big ramifications for everyone else from that incident. Obviously, let's move on to this weekend. We've CM Punk. You have said, I think it was with MMAfighting.com, that he's improved 200%. How has he improved? Where has he improved?
Just understanding how to fight. Wanting to fight and fighting are two different things. And time makes better everything. I want to be a musician. Yeah, maybe I strum a few notes on a guitar or bang out beats on a drum. But, you give 2 years more to that, I'd be a much more accomplished musician. And the same is true with fighting. It's just time in the gym, time. And I think that everything really clicked for him just recently. It was like the perfect peak out. Coach Cush and Daniel and I worked with him on a Sunday session yesterday, and we were just all amazed about how it all come together for him. He's an incredible person, not to get behind. He's just such a cool guy and hard worker and special. And, we're very happy for him and optimistic coming into Saturday.
Yeah. Is it almost, he took the 2 years off nearly. I was at that fight in Cleveland. I covered that fight. Obviously, for me on paper, the matchup wasn't probably the most sensible for the UFC to make on his debut up against a guy like Mickey Gall. Is it testament to his character that he's taken this 2 years off to learn and improve and want to put those things together to become a more complete mixed martial artist?
Yeah, there's an injury that was going on and the time that the UFC wanted to use him for the fight. It all worked out well, I know a lot of people have complained he shouldn't be on the pay-per-view card, but,
I understand it. Yeah, I understand it. He's a draw.
He's going to drive so much for all the other fighters.
Exactly.
And, Sergio, he's in the fight fest. Sergio's like, wow, I get the fight right away. This brings good memories, He's super stoked about fighting right away. You get paid the same either way.
Exactly.
That's what fans don't get. It's to me, the sooner you can fight and get that ache out of your system, the better in my book. But it's exciting. He really has put a lot of work into it. All the fighters do. But he's just a special guy, and I'm excited because Chicago is his hometown.
Yeah.
It's going to be special when he gets his hand raised.
Definitely. Have you had to, I know you do sort of, Paul has famously called you on our show here, his psychologist. Have you had to do work with Punk since the first fight and maybe change something in his mindset to what he does and maybe how he enters the cage and the way he looks at things?
For sure, 100%. Because until you walk to the octagon with a fighter and you go through their version of, every one of these fighters has a different approach. So as a coach, I try and be mindful of their approach. I don't make my approach their approach. I just try and add strength and give more feedback to make their approach better, because you know, martial arts, art being the key word, is expression. Everyone expresses himself differently, and you know, the other thing too is you know, I don't want 10 fighters being the same from the same camp. You know, this is a sport that's built on individuals, even though I'm proud that these guys rep our team, our gym, our fight family. At the end of the day, I try and cultivate unique and personality, not to be mindful of in that psychological aspect of not stealing their mojo, who they are, and their personality. And yeah, definitely, it's always psychological, you know, because he's a very hard person on himself. He's his worst critic, and that's the biggest thing we work on, is keeping him as positive as possible all the time. You know, he has a strong self-expectation. With that being said, you know, he's hard on himself.
I want to ask you a question. What do you think, you know, what should the fans expect to see this weekend from Punk? Where is there an area you believe, you know, you've seen maybe where he stood out? Is it the stand-up? Is it, you know, his wrestling game? Is it his jiu-jitsu? What sort of fighter do you think we're going to see this weekend?
Very well-rounded fighter. I mean, I'm very comfortable with him in every discipline of the fight. But, you know, what you're going to see is, you know, the last fight you saw, hey, I'm here to fight, this is cool. You're going to see a guy come in, look more seasoned, look more intense, understand what the octagon is all about. Yeah, I think you're going to see a psychological, mentally, emotional, ready, battle fit fighter in the octagon Saturday night on the beginning of the pay-per-view. You're going to see it from Jump Street when he walks into that octagon, you know, from the walkout, his preparation in the locker room, to the whole fight week, to culminating to going into that cage and fight, and just a guy who learned a lot from his first fight and improved.
Definitely. Any news, any updates on Tyron Woodley? Has Tyron been up with you, or are we going to see him back in there soon? What's the plan? What's been going on with Tyron?
You know, he threw his name in the hat to fight in LA, but, you know, this interim title, you know, kind of puts a damper. The timing of it was too soon for him to fight June because of the labor healing up. But I know the UFC really needed a title fight, so that's why everything happened. I mean, I probably see a fall return for Tyron. He's been doing a lot of, the one I don't always get to watch his work on the desk.
Yeah.
I have to watch a lot of his work on the desk this week. I'm so proud of him as an analyst. He does an incredible job at that, and I'm very proud. I had to note that. I'm sorry, I don't get to watch all these guys as much as I'd like to. You know, life catches up. But, you know, he's been doing a lot of training with Ludacris. He's been doing stuff with Khalifa, Snoop.
Yeah.
I smell some other creative projects coming along for him. And one thing I try and do is cultivate other opportunities with these guys as an older mentor to them. Try and teach them to use their hand from fighting to cross over into other things, just like Paul. Yeah. You know, he's up for Analyst of the Year and the MMA Fight Awards. I'm proud of him. I try and get all these guys to take your success as a fighter, and you know, only live once, so try and do all these other things that you know, whereas when we were little kids, we never did have these opportunities. Yeah. Take advantage of it, you know. Definitely.
Does that frustrate you maybe a little bit as a coach, though? You know, the guys going off doing these things, because I know you're a guy, you love to work with your guys quite a lot, that maybe you don't get as much time with them as you want.
Yes and no. I mean, what frustrates me is when they're gone for nothing. You know, if we're chasing other careers, other ventures that, you know, especially a lot of my guys, they're family guys, they have children, They have mouths to feed. They have tuition to pay for. They got to put those Adidas on those feet. You know, they got they got to take care of their families. To me, I'm 101% supportive of those type of things. It's just when guys disappear and ghost and neglect their training for nothing else or for holidays only. Then that for me, that's what frustrates me. No, I mean, anytime someone's working to better themselves, their family, the people around them, I'm completely supportive.
Cool.
Because it's that vigilant mindset that makes you special. That's why I took a guy like CM Punk on. We were friends since 2013, but I knew the guy liked to work.
His work ethic,
who like to work. Yeah. You know, it's I took the shuttle at 4 a.m. home from the fight Saturday morning. I was back in Milwaukee by 10:30. Stopped home to say hello to my wife and daughter. Grabbed my daughter. She came to the gym with me, and we were in the gym by noon on Saturday. You know, got lead by example, and we worked yesterday and Sunday. This is a life made of work. So, if you don't like to work, you're not going to be comfortable at my gym.
Yeah, no, 100%. I know your work ethic, and the guys in your gym, and you know, we know Paul well, and you know, he's a grinder as well. Loves to get in there in the gym. He was over here on holidays, and he was looking for gyms to go to, even when he was supposed to be on a bit of downtime. I just think that speaks volumes for the kind of guys you have up in your gym, and what sort of work ethic you have, and what you put into your gym. And congratulations as well on the nomination for Gym of the Year as well.
Thank you very much. It's just I want to give credit to all my coaches, my business partners, my staff of people at the school. Especially my home life, my wife, my daughter. They're very, very supportive of our lifestyle. I wouldn't be able to be who I am and who everyone perceives me to be without all the people who support me in my endeavors. I have the greatest support system around that helps me do what I do, and I couldn't do it without, especially my family first and foremost, but all the other fellow coaches, the athletes, and the culture that we've set for ourselves at Roufus Sport.
100%. Just a couple more if you do. I do appreciate the time, my friend.
No worries.
Colby Covington, we had him on the show here last week. He's still talking a bit of crap about Tyron Woodley, all this. That fight this weekend, how do you think that one's going to play out? Obviously, it's insignificance with Tyron Woodley. It's for the interim welterweight championship. RDA versus Colby Covington. How do you see that one panning out?
I'm very acquainted with RDA. He's a bad man. He's shown to be a very bad man, even at 170. I give the advantage to RDA. It's all the stuff's been. In fact, I don't follow the media, and I'm not even on Twitter, so I don't see a lot of this stuff. So I hear from some of the boys at the gym, and little banter, but I'm so far removed from it. All I know is I don't care what people said, but the horn's gonna sound on the semi-main event, or and they're gonna have to fight. So when it comes down to a fist fight and an A fight, I give great advantage to RDA in every aspect of the fight.
Does Colby's personality bother you? What he's been saying?
No, because I don't tune in. What I mean? It's like anything else in life. It's once you pull an Eminem, and I'll explain from the movie 8 Mile. Once you learn to block out what everyone's going to say about you, life's easy. Like I just keep the blinders on. I don't know what you say, what you do. I just keep going, and so that doesn't affect me one bit.
You listen.
The only thing I say.
You listen to our show, though, do you?
I do. I've got a handful of media outlets I follow, and that's it.
You're right.
Life's too busy between trying to, keep my head above the
Yeah,
water, being the best
definitely.
husband and father I can be. I got a group of people I got to be on. So I've only got so many hours in a week,
Yeah, 100%.
I'm cool. I got a cool, attractive life. I think I'd rather focus more on that than focus on MMA media. It's like, it's that being said, I do put some messages out. I see the
Of
banter
course.
at the fights. A lot more guys are getting more toxic and creating more drama than
Hype.
there needs
Yeah.
to be.
Big time.
I just be careful what you wish for is what I say.
Yeah.
Don't, I see a lot of guys, they're surprised when someone comes and smacks them.
Yeah.
Well, you insulted them. What do you think they're going to do? I see this often. Well, hey, he wants to fight me. Well, you just said fighting words. Here's one of the reasons why I get along very well with a lot of, other nationalities and cultures.
Yeah.
Even though I'm an American, I grew up very, very humble. We didn't have a lot. So for me, when you grow up with nothing, all you have is honor and who you are, your reputation. And not unlike, say, a Brazilian or anyone else, from, impoverished places, words, pride mean a lot to me as well. And I totally understand
100%.
why, these guys are
Yeah.
upset if people are, talking
Talking
crap
shit.
or,
Yeah.
bullying them. The one thing I will say after, the whole Conor McGregor Khabib situation and what happened to Artem, the one thing you can't doubt is that Conor's a top mate. He
Yeah.
stands by
Yeah.
his friends. Was the reaction right? But I respect the loyalty, and that's important in life, is being a person of your
Honor.
word. I mean, a lot of these guys, they're starting to trash talk a lot, and I see a guy like RDA making Colby try and eat his words very strongly on Saturday night.
Yeah,
Hey, and if Colby pulls it off, good on him. Hey, you deserve to win, but I think you're going to see more guys coming in more motivated to lay beatings on people. Similar
yeah.
situation when Anthony Pettis fought Donald Cerrone. He was very vocal before the fight,
Yes, I remember that.
and I'll never forget. The backstage weigh-in before the fight at Chicago Theater. Donald turns around to Anthony and goes, "Hey man, let's have fight of the night." With his hand out. Anthony wouldn't put his hand out. Anthony looked like he was going to kill him. And Donald turned around and goes, "Oh, already then," turned around. I knew the fight was won at that point because Anthony was coming to fight. And, this was not sport. It was personal. And you're going to see some more legendary performances from people like that because, to me, that reminds me of the old days of boxing, the way, in the Roberto Duran movie, how he went at Ray Leonard in the first fight, and then how Ray Leonard went at him in the second fight. That's the era I grew up in.
So that's it's the mindset you take and the approach.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a fist fight.
Exactly.
It is a sport, but it's a sport that'll leave you scarred, battered, broken, damaged for life. So. I try and teach my fighters to go in there and take no prisoners. I mean, Paul Felder, he's a take no prisoners type guy. I love working with the take no prisoners mentality, and it's a mindset. You got to have some. Again, for the Irish fans, that's something I respect a lot about Conor. Before the fight, he's a Celtic warrior, man. He comes in with that same mentality, and I think it's so important. I see so many kids lose at these fights. I'm in the locker room, and I see that their mentality's off, and I see a losing fighter walking before the fight. I can tell who's going to win and lose in the locker room just due to the mentality, and this is the hurt business.
Yeah.
You got to be ready to be the hammer, not the nail.
100% agree with you on everything you said there. Just one last one for you. I don't know if you saw the fight a couple of weeks ago, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Darren Till. Did you watch the fight?
I just did this week. We've had some legendary weather in Milwaukee the last few weeks, especially at a holiday weekend. So I spent a lot of time with family, enjoying being outside, working on my tan. But I did watch the fight. And
how did you score?
I went with Wonderboy, but
I agree.
I understand why. Very similar to the Rose Namajunas Joanna fight.
Yeah.
You have one fighter that threw more volume, but you have another fighter that threw the bigger blows. It reminds me a lot of the Marvin Hagler Sugar Ray Leonard fight. Judges are either going to score volume or they're going to score the bigger blows. So, a lot of the volume people, they would go after, Wonderboy, but it's a lot of times in MMA, the guy who lands the bigger blows
Gets
is usually going to win.
Mm. Yeah, it was
because I saw the strike stats of Joanna and Rose. Joanna outstruck her, but when Rose landed, they were decisive blows, and I think that was the top tale of this fight as well.
Yeah, I think it's
the other thing.
I think it's interesting the way we look at it because both those fights you've just mentioned, I've scored the fight for Wonderboy and I've scored the fight for Joanna as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the press, you guys as the press are, I think, respectfully, you watch more fights than the judges do.
Yeah.
Because this is all you guys do. You just don't watch UFC. You watch Bellator. You watch, Cage
Warriors, everything.
You guys watch a lot of fights. So sometimes I think, again, I don't want to be disrespectful to the judges. You guys are just really into it too. And same with coaches, fighters. What we see is I guess they don't see, obviously, so, but that's the thing about close fights. You got to do things to not make those fights close. That's why it's such a push. And it's just not an MMA thing. It's a fighting thing. I watch a fight from Thailand. I thought someone won. I watch a kickboxing fight. I watch a boxing fight. It's prevalent in all fighting disciplines.
Definitely. Duke, my friend, it's always a pleasure having the show. I'm looking forward to the fights this weekend. I hope your suntan works out well for a day or two before you get over to Chicago. Always a pleasure, my friend. Great having you on the show.
Thanks, and thanks for all the support over across the pond. Hopefully, we'll see you soon, and good day to everyone. I appreciate the support.
Definitely. Thanks a million, my friend.